19 minutes past 8 is the time. Now, roadside recovery vehicles will be allowed to use red flashing lights instead of amber in an attempt to reduce the likelihood of them being hit as they do their work.
So this follows a long-running campaign led by Sam Cockerell, whose partner was hit and killed on a motorway hard shoulder while he was helping another driver. Jane McCubbin has this report.
For motorists, they are the people there in a crisis. But too often, recovery drivers are at risk on our roads. These are the amber warning lights which are supposed to keep people like Ryan safe.
My job's not that dangerous. What makes it dangerous is other motorists. They see a big truck, big lights on it. It's got 110 lights on this truck, and they don't pay attention to it at all. They don't give me room, they don't give me space.
No official statistics reveal just how dangerous this job is. The health and safety executives say there are several road recovery and rescue fatalities every year. Drivers like Ryan believe their amber warning lights aren't warning enough when so many other vehicles also use them.
The motorways are the worst, and you'll lay underneath the vehicle and actually the wind comes right across your face while you lie on your back putting your chains on and taking a prop off. Or they'll come past with their hand on the arm, beeping. And when you're lay underneath the truck on a motorway and something beeps, you move quick. Or if you hear the rumble strips on the hard shoulder, you know, I'm a big lad, but I can move quick if I hear them rumble strips.
And that happens?
That happens a lot, yeah.
These kinds of collisions are all too common. Neil Stead says he is lucky to be alive after a 70-mile-an-hour collision on the motorway in March this year.
So, just going to load the car up on the M62 on the hard shoulder. A car drifts over, hits the car I'm loading and takes out my trailer. That ramp gets flung round, whacks me on the back of the leg, lands down the hard shoulder there, and the car that hit everything bounced all the way down the side of my van and was about 200 yards up in lane 1.
Your leg was pretty seriously injured?
Oh yeah, I was off work for a couple of weeks with it, and it's still numb as a brush. No feeling at bottom half of my calf.
Could have died, couldn't you?
Oh yeah.
And this was the second collision Neil had been injured in just 6 weeks. This was the outcome when a motorist shunted his recovery van into the breakdown he was attending. Do you feel lucky to be alive?
Very, very, very lucky. Yeah. I'm not a person to do ifs and buts, but anything slightly different on that night and I'd have been stood there where that car hit and that'd have been it, game over. I mean, I'm just going to work to get killed by somebody that's not paying attention. That's what it is, not paying attention, because they just ignore amber lights.
We'd like to make the road safer for the drivers with red lights on the recovery vehicles. So that in
2018, Sam Cockerell and Nathan Green sat on the BBC Breakfast sofa to tell us about Steve Godbold. He'd been recovering Nathan's car on the M25 when he was hit by a lorry.
Everything was slow motion at that point. We heard the vehicle and it was just, everything happened that quickly that the lorry had come into the hard shoulder and hit Steve.
He died instantly. The driver was later convicted. Steve's partner, Sam, helped to launch a campaign to allow recovery drivers to instead use red flashing lights on their vehicles, a campaign which the Department for Transport has now approved.
We've spoken to lots and lots of people. We've got the whole recovery industry behind us trying to get the red lights. Ultimately, red spells danger, so I think they're going to see a red light over an amber light. And I do believe it's going to save lives.
From the end of this month, recovery drivers can apply to use red lights with a blanket change coming in 2025.
The lad here now, he's got amber lights on his front there. They're not turned on, but he's got them on the front of his van. He's just a van.
The change is welcomed by drivers who believe it will save lives.
You automatically see red flashing lights. You think danger, you think slow down.
Jane McCubbin, BBC News.
So we're joined here in the studio by Sam Cockerell, who you saw in that report, of course, along with Andy Lambert from the Recovery Industry Support Charity. Very good morning to you.
Good morning.
Sam, people will know your story from the film and from the work you've done before. you must be feeling at least some sense of achievement to have got something changed.
It's an amazing thing that we've done. I'm very proud to have been part of it, and I couldn't be happier.
In practical sense, for those people, you know, who've seen some of it in the film, what difference will this red light make, do you think? I
genuinely think it will save lives. Genuinely think it will save lives for recovery workers, but I think also with the public as well. Because what? Because the fact that the light will make people think in a different way? Is that... Red spells danger. Red spells danger. So people are going to see the red lights and they're going to know that there's something ahead, whereas the amber isn't as obvious. Do you think people see amber and just think roadworks, almost? Yeah. So it's just kind of, it's fine, it's happening, I'm conscious of it, but I'm not alerted to danger. I don't think of it, the potential danger. Yeah, whereas with the red lights, red spells danger. Andy, this campaign has taken, 5 years so far? It's been a long time coming. Yes. What difference do you think is going to be made? Yeah.
Well, I think, first of all, we've managed to stop recovery operators being invisible. We have been invisible for a long while, and obviously, as Sam is testing me, we've lost a lot of good people in the recovery industry. I think this, as you say, the red light is danger, but it's an instinct. When you see a red light in front of you, your foot immediately goes to the brake pedal. And you then look to see what's going on. And the hope is, and certainly tests we've done demonstrate, that people do pay far more attention to that red light. What do people say about what it feels like? When you talk to people in the recovery industry, what do they say about what it feels like when they are there, you know, doing a repair who have been called to help? Right, well, it obviously is very scary. One of the things you have to consider when you're doing a breakdown is some will be in a high street perfectly OK, but an awful lot will be on country lanes and such like. The recovery operator will turn up not knowing what he's going to get. When he gets there, he'll have a family, granny, the dog, etc., all to look after, and he has to shepherd them to somewhere safe, all the time looking over his shoulder and waiting for somebody coming round the corner, not expecting that vehicle to be there because it wasn't there last time they went round that corner.
Yeah, and Sam, for a lot of people, they think of those recovery operators working on motorways, for example. It's one of the ones you see most often, isn't it? And as we all know, the advice to anyone who breaks down is to get out of the car, get the other side of the barrier. That's behind your vehicle. Yes, to get away from the vehicle. But precisely the job of the recovery operator is to be in the most dangerous place. I mean, that is the job. And that doesn't change, does it? This doesn't change that. It's a kind of inevitability of the role that they perform. I think with the red light, it will just mean that people should move over. They would move over and get out of the way and go away from the incident. Whereas I think you're quite often attracted to things that are on the hard shoulder, so it would draw people away. To be clear, these red lights will only be put on when the vehicle's stationary? Right. Yeah, this is a very important point. It can't be like the amber light, which everybody has. It has to be regulated. Yeah, because when you're driving along, you can see amber lights kind of almost flashing sometimes, can't you? On everything, yeah. Everything has got amber lights. This is what's diluted them over the years. So the red light has to be a privilege, and a privilege that can be taken away if you abuse it. So is this going to be regulated, this use? Very much so. So there will be rules in place and things that have to be enforced. Absolutely. And guidance? Yes. We will be relying, obviously, on the industry to put together the requirement that, you know, we've all thought about the training that must go into it. But the important thing is that you'll be relying on police, highways agency people to make sure that people only use it correctly, and if they don't, then it's going to be taken away from them. We cannot let it get like the amber light. Yeah, Sam, I think you said the campaign carries on. What else is it you're seeking to achieve? Educating the public. So if somebody breaks down on the side of the road, making sure that they know what they should be doing. I don't think there's enough education out there for people to know when they're in a situation. What kind of thing do you think people don't know that they're or not aware of? When I'm driving, I still see people sitting in their vehicles. They're not getting out of their cars. They're not getting on the other side of the barrier. They're still sitting in their cars, which is dangerous. There's also that thing, isn't there, Sam, when say you're driving down a motorway and you see someone who has broken down, and I'm talking about the drivers that can cause the problems now, and you're driving down and you see someone has got out of their car, they're the other side of the barrier, or you see someone doing some work on it, and they still drive in that inside lane.
Now, if it's safe to do so, why is it not a law, I don't know, or a rule or a code that you move to try to, whenever possible, without inconveniencing other drivers or, you know, dangerous, giving a lane space? Isn't that common sense?
It is in the highway code now, the slow down, move over. So if it is safe to do so, you should slow down and move over.
But I don't think people know that. This comes down to that education, doesn't it?
It is, but in fairness, when you did this 5 years ago with Sam, a lot of my fellow recovery operators said to me that they immediately noticed a difference. People were paying more attention. They were moving out.
So hence the next stage.
We owe a lot to BBC Breakfast because, you know, the publicity that you gave, Sam, it really has helped the campaign to get things moving and to make people understand that we are a special case. We need help. We're losing people. We want to stop it.
Very pleased to have you both here this morning. I'm pleased for you that you can see something tangible as a result of the work you've done. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your time.
Sam, Andy, thank you. It's 8:30. Find out what's happening where you are with the news, travel and weather, and we'll see you shortly.